All right, welcome. Happy Monday. So happy to see so many of your guys' faces. This is week 3 of our 90-day action plan. It's our second call. We didn't have a call for that first week. It was when everybody was coming back from celebration. This is week 3. So again, I just want to remind you guys, the 90-day action plan. Oh, if you guys can just mute yourselves before we get started. That would be so helpful. Just mute yourselves. You should see like a little mute option at the bottom of the phone or on the computer. Okay, so I just want to remind yourselves, in Team Aero Biz, under announcements, is the 90-day action plan. Oh, someone still really thinks we stopped the water from running. I don't know who it is. Can you guys mute yourselves? Let's see.
Angel.
Angel, can you mute yourself?
It says it's muted on my side.
I'm going to mute you.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to mute the people that I see. Okay. All right. I think. All right. Awesome. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. So, if you go to Team Aero Biz under announcements, 90-day action plan. I know this is repetitive, you guys, but who is that?
It looks like Sandra O'Neill is not muted.
Yeah,
Sandra.
I just muted her. No, now Angie. Okay. All right. So I know it sounds repetitive that I keep talking about the 90-day action plan, but when I'm getting on the phone calls with people and I flat out ask, have you watched this? People are still telling me no. So I'm like, it's on there, watch it. And just make sure that you're looking at that, you guys, because I definitely put a lot of time and effort into putting this document together. And I know a lot of times people just feel like, gosh, what do I do? Like, I have 20 minutes right now. What do I do? And just like check things off of that 90-day action plan, whether it's videos or podcasts, and try to stay on task as much as possible for the weeks, because this really is what will build your business. And I was going to say something else as I was thinking about that. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. But I know last week a bunch of us shared our whys, and that's really, really exciting. And I really want you to focus in on that why, because that's going to drive you. That's what's going to drive you in this business. For those of you that I've already had phone calls with, I always say, like, write it down, have it in front of you, have it in your mirror when you wake up in the morning, like your why, your goal, like, why are you doing this? And I shared with a lot of you on Team Aero Biz, this was literally like Michelle Prod. So when we were doing our first 90-day action plan, we all got together and kind of wrote down our whys. And to be honest, my why back then was pretty vague, but it literally was, I want to work when I want to, because at the time I was still a school psychologist. Number 2 was time freedom. And number 3 was help those I love to find financial freedom and physical freedom. Now, this to me is not a very good why, to be honest. It's like still super vague, but that was kind of where I was at. And I literally had this, I still have it. I still have it in my office to kind of remind me of where it started. But whatever your why is, just having it visible, looking at it every day, whatever your goal is, because it is what will drive you. And you guys, like, I just like promise, like, don't give up. Stay in it, and stay in it day in and day out. Don't take breaks. Taking breaks from this business is so hard to watch, because you literally start all over when you come back, and it's really hard. And then it also for your network, it makes them feel a little like, what was that all about? Like, why did you take a break? Or, or are you still doing that shake thing? Like, no one in your network should ever wonder if you're still doing Isogenics. No one, no matter what, do you think anybody ever looks at Laura Stevens' Facebook and says, is she still doing that thing? I don't think so. I don't think anybody has ever wondered that. I hope people have never wondered that about me. And so much of it is from social media. That's kind of like the consistent, like, okay, as long as you keep posting a couple times a week, people will still know that you're in it. And when the timing is right, they're going to come to you instead of somebody else. I don't know if Crystal's on the phone. I think she was going to hop on. Let me see if I see her. Crystal. I don't see her yet. I know she's putting her baby to sleep. But Crystal was my intern like 10 years ago as a school psychologist, maybe 8 years ago. And she's watched for 3 years. And why did she come to me after 3 years? Because I've been the consistent person. And she's watched and watched and watched and knew, okay, I'm ready. Timing is different now than 3 years ago. So you want people to come to you, but that happens with consistency. So this week is all about how to market yourself in person and in social media. So social media, you guys, is so important. And I think a lot of times it's the scariest and the hardest to wrap our head around. I've had some coaching calls this last week of some of you who are doing awesome in person and are having launch parties, but you still have not really put anything out there on social media. And my experience has been that, you really limit yourself if you don't put yourself out there, and you actually make it way harder because then you have to be really intentional in person because otherwise no one knows anything, So the reason why I love Facebook and Instagram and social media is because it allows for people in your network to kind of watch your journey in a very non-confrontational way. It's like they're just watching, they're just seeing, and you never know who's paying attention. You never know who's watching. And I've shared this with many of you. When I hit executive in those first 6 months, the people who joined me and helped me get to executive were so random, you guys. It was not my best friends. It was not my family. It was literally random people that I had been good friends with at some point in my life that came to me through social media, that came to me through Facebook. So it wasn't the people that I went to. It was the people who saw me on Facebook and said, oh my gosh, I need this. What is she doing? So like one of them was a really good friend from high school who became a business builder pretty early on. Another one is Anfam Medina, who we've known each other for a decade. We went to graduate school together, but we didn't really hang out before Isogenics. But she was desperate and saw what was happening on Facebook. And even though she didn't reach out to me on Facebook, the next time she saw me in person, she said, hey, I saw your Facebook post. What's that all about? So even though people might not reach out to you on Facebook or on Instagram, they will have that information in their brain, in their head, and they're going to, next time they see you, it's going to come up. They're going to ask you about it. So in my opinion, what Facebook and Instagram does is it creates this story for people. They're watching your journey. It gives them a lot of information. And some of them will reach out to you on Facebook. Some of them will text you and say, hey, what's going on? Like, I'm watching all these Facebook things. Like, what's happening? And some of them might not say anything until they see you in person. And I've also had people who have never liked or commented on anything for years. And then all of a sudden they reach out and they're like, okay, how do I do this business? And I'm like, what? I didn't even know we were still Facebook friends. So I really want you to understand like the power of Facebook, the power of Instagram, and it is so important. And it takes some of the pressure away from you having to be this network marketer that's talking about Isogenics every minute of your life, because a lot of times people are going to come to you just from what they're seeing on Facebook and on social media. Now, how to market yourself in person. So that, I mean, for one, you need to have a launch party like as soon as possible. And a launch party is basically like your coming out party. It's kind of like, come on over, come learn about what I'm doing, come learn about my transformation and join me. Now, of course, with your friends and your family and your good friends, you can be a little bit more direct with these people. Like I literally, to my close friends, was like, you're doing this with me. Like we're doing this together. Like, come on, you know. Some of them received it well, some of them didn't. And some of them just supported and said, good for you, you go get them, and I want nothing to do with it. And that's okay, but just having that party of letting people come over and learn about it. And I've shared with many of you that those first 6 months, I literally had a launch party at my house every Tuesday. It was like, no matter what, every Tuesday night, at least once a week, I had a launch party scheduled at my house. Sometimes one person showed up, sometimes 10 people showed up, sometimes no one showed up. I can't tell you how many times Anne and I ended up having business meetings because no one showed up to our launch parties. And then it was like, okay, well, we'll make this into a business meeting. I'm sure we have something to talk about. But it was the fact that it was scheduled every Tuesday, no matter what, so that then if I did meet a new mom on a Friday and something came up about Isagenix, I could say, hey, come on over to my house on Tuesday. I'm having some friends over. You can learn all about it. You can come taste it. It was already scheduled, you know, so it's an easy invitation. And then also the people that start to join you in Isagenix, it also makes it a really easy way for those people to then bring people to a launch party without them feeling the pressure to have it themselves. Now, if somebody's open to the business, then I absolutely will want them to do their own launch party at their house, because you definitely want to set them up for success and you want them to know how to do launch parties at their own house, and you go and support them. I will go and support a person's first launch party, teach them exactly how it is, and then that's it. They're on their own. That's what Laura did for me. She did one launch party and then I was on my own. I thought she was going to do them all with me. No. Wouldn't that be nice if Laura Stevens just came to all of our launch parties? But you do one, you show them how to do it the first time, and you teach them, and then they're on their own. So that's kind of like the beginning of the in-person. And then as you continue, I mean, launch parties are definitely super important. In the beginning, I would say you have to have them, in my opinion, every week, you guys. Like in these next 90 days, commit to having them every week. And maybe not every one of them is at your house. Maybe every you know, some of them might be at your people's house or your new enrollments. And then you can also share launch party information with each other so that you can also utilize that, you know. So Angie just posted that she's going to be having launch parties at our house every Friday at 7 p.m. So if you have somebody who lives in Angie's area, invite them, come on over, utilize that. And then if Angie has somebody that lives in Chula Vista, I know the girls that live in Chula Vista Bonita area, I think they're having theirs Thursday or Tuesday. I know there might be some back and forth about that. But then you have somebody down there, you help them get to that party and join them. So that's the other great thing. We have such an awesome team and we have such an awesome community that we can really utilize each other. And there's so much power in the launch parties, you guys, because it's one thing for them to say, oh, that's awesome, Patty. Good, it worked for you. But when they go to a launch party and they see all these other people on our team who all have different stories, all had different reasons why they joined, and they're also having success, there's going to be somebody in that room that they're going to relate to, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, like I totally relate to her story. This is awesome. Like I'm going to do this. Like I remember when Gina Maroney came to one of my launch parties when she first joined, Rocio Luna was there, and Rocio had just had amazing results, and they just like, they've never met, but they just like hit it off. And I remember Gina saying like, it was Rocio's testimony that totally did it for me, like her story, because she really related to some of those pain points that Rocio was having. And she felt like that was a similar story to her, you know? So we all have different stories. And when we have launch parties together and support each other, it just helps to continue to grow the community. So that's how you're going to do it as far as launch parties go. Now, when I really have somebody that I really want to partner with, more on like a business level, or when I have reached out to people for the business where I have said like, this is totally out of my comfort zone. And as you know, I am building a network marketing business, and I'm linking arms with some new people to run with me, and you keep coming to mind. Like, are you open to learning more? And then I'll meet with them for lunch, one-on-one. And what that looks like is I start by sharing my story. I talk about the company, the history of the company. I talk about the Cougars. I talk about the mission to free people from physical and financial pain. I'll normally have a lookbook with me or something where I can share testimonies. So if you don't have a lookbook, you can even just have like the Team Arrow support page up, and you can show different transformations. Just really getting them to see what the company looks like. And then I will end with the compensation plan and tell them about the opportunity and how I do it, you know. And that works out really well too. I mean, for some people, I really feel like that one-on-one time has been really helpful, especially if it's somebody that you're like, gosh, they would be so amazing at this business. Like, I need to get in front of them. So it's not always about the nutrition, you know, I mean, and everybody needs the nutrition. So when I'm reaching out to people to do the business, I know that the nutrition is just going to bless their family. And a lot of times the people that I kind of have on mind are typically health conscious people anyway, that are kind of passionate about nutrition and are passionate about fitness. So it's an easy, you know, it's like this, I know you're passionate about this. Like, this is what this company's all about. And then just in general, your friends and family should be 100% sure that you're doing this. And you guys, like, so much of your success depends on your posture around Isagenix. You know, like, own it, you guys. Own it. Be proud of it. Represent this business and this company proud. Like, I want people to look at me and see me as a professional network marketer. You know, I don't want them to see me as like some crazy shake mom that like is bugging everybody. You know, like, I want them to look at me and be like, oh my gosh, like, she's building an awesome business. Like, so cool, you know? So wear that proud, you know, like, really show up in that way. Show up as a professional. Be professional. If you say you're going to do something, do it. I believe, I mean, I really believe that so strongly. Do what you know, say and do what you're going to do, whatever. If you say you're going to do something, do it, you know. And just show up in a professional way, because also that's how you're going to attract other professional people. And that's what you want, you know. Keep that in mind. If you're wanting to attract some really highly successful people into your network, into your business, you have to show up that way, you know. I remember my very first celebration, and I don't think I totally understood this quite well, but I remember somebody saying on stage how so many people go around like looking and praying for the next Laura Stevens, for example. Like, oh, if I could just find a Laura Stevens for my right leg and my left leg, like, I would be set, you know? And I think there is a lot of that mentality in general. I think some people look at the Isagenix opportunity a little bit as a lotto ticket, because if you understand the compensation plan, you know a Laura Stevens on your left and on your right is a lotto ticket. That's like a lotto win right there. But I remember on stage, and I can't remember who it was that was talking, but she said, instead of focusing on finding a Laura Stevens, start focusing on acting like a Laura Stevens. And that was like so eye-opening for me. I mean, I kind of was still getting my feet wet with the whole thing, but I knew Laura Stevens, so I knew what they meant, And it was like, yes, it's so true. Like, instead of saying, like, let me go find a Laura Stevens, well, what is Laura Stevens doing that she's had this success? And show up in that way, learn from that, duplicate what she's done. And I mean, we all kind of relate to different business builders. Like your person might be like, I want to show up like Susan Sly, she's amazing. Or Lisa DeMaio, or whoever that is, or Angelique Nori, like whoever. We all have these Isagenix people that we relate to or connect to. And instead of feeling like you want to find somebody like that, start really analyzing what they do to have this success and duplicate that. One of the things that I love about Lindsay Winya, some of you might know who that is. In fact, anybody who went to Celebration saw her on stage, right? If you went to Celebration, you know who I'm talking about, Lindsay Winya. Love her, love her, love her. And she kind of came out of nowhere. Like, she started when I started. We first met in ISA Derby in Cancun when we won that. And then we were kind of like rank advancing at the same rate, but no one really knew who she was. And then this last year, it was like, boom, like she just blew up. And what I love about her is she is the mom next door. She is like, just like an everyday mom. She's the mom that you would literally meet in your neighborhood. But what she has done so well is she like found these leaders, and she was so proactive to duplicate what different people were doing. Like, she would be like, what is this that Laura does? Like, and she would message me all the time. Like, hey, tell me about the executive retreat. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. So she was so resourceful in finding things that she liked about different leaders. And she didn't reinvent the wheel. She just said, okay, I like that. How do I do that? And she just did that. And in that, she kind of found the Lindsay Winya way, and it's like, now she has her own way of doing it, and she's had amazing success. But it really came from just looking at what different leaders were doing and duplicating it. We don't reinvent the wheel here. We just duplicate it. So in person, everybody, all your friends and family should know that you have a business with Isagenix. They should know what your plans and your goals are. Wear it proud. People are going to talk about you regardless. So give them something really good to talk about. You don't want them to talk about you a year from now and say, oh, remember when Jamie tried that shake thing? That's hilarious. That went nowhere. Instead, you want them to say, oh my gosh, Jamie did it. Like, she has done it. She has built this incredible team. Like, she's doing it. And that's kind of always been my attitude. Like, I'm like, you know what? People are going to talk about me regardless. So I'm just going to give them something really good to talk about and really exciting. So I want you guys to keep that in mind, because I know that that's a constant thing that comes up, worrying about what people think, worrying about what people are going to say. And like I told Sandra, I think it was Sandra O'Neill when we were talking yesterday, people actually don't care about you as much as you think they do. So as much as you think that everyone's like sitting there talking about you, they're actually not. Like, they have their own stuff to worry about. So just let that go and just focus on your goals, focus on your why, and give them something really good to talk about. Just be an awesome Isagenix business builder. So that's kind of the in-person and in social media. Now, I want to end with what we're going to do this week is we're going to do a 3-part social media campaign. This is really, really important. So on Wednesday at 7 p.m., this is what you're going to do. All of us are going to do this. And I did post it on Team AeroBiz, but just so like a little bit more information on it. So on Wednesday, August 29th at 7 p.m., you're going to title Part 1, You're going to have a picture that kind of represents you and your family or just you by yourself before Isagenix. And you're going to talk about all those pain points. So like whenever you started, this could be like, for me, it'll be 3 years ago. This is how I was feeling. I was tired. I was still carrying around my pregnancy weight. I didn't have the time that I wanted with my son. I hated having to be at work at 7 a.m. You know, like all those pain points of what life was like before Isagenix. And then a picture. And you're going to end with to be continued. So you're kind of like leaving people hanging. And then on Thursday at 7 p.m. is going to be titled Part 2. And it's basically going to be, it's basically like your picture of like right about when you started Isagenix. So this could be like, or this actually could be like your 30-day transformation, or just kind of like that first month, the first like, oh my gosh, there's a difference, you know? And so in this part, you're going to say, I was introduced to Isagenix by my best friend, Catherine. I saw she had amazing results, and I was so desperate that I wanted to give it a try. I knew there was a 30 money back guarantee, you know, whatever it is for you. And then just saying like, oh my gosh, on day 5, I felt like I swallowed a rainbow. I had more energy than what I knew to do with. My husband and I lost a combined 30 pounds, you know, like whatever that is, just kind of like that initial like after picture of like, we knew Isagenix was going to be a part of our lives for a long time. And then you'll have a picture. And then on Friday morning, in the morning, because most people aren't checking their Facebook at 7 p.m. on a Friday. So on Friday in the morning at some point before noon, you're going to do part 3. And that's going to be the now. So this is like a recent picture. This is kind of like your maintenance picture. And this is going to be like what life is like now, you know? So for some of you, it might be, I've continued to use this nutrition system for the last 6 months, and I've lost 40 pounds and I feel better than ever. And I'm so hopeful about my future. I got off of my pre-diabetic medication, you know, whatever that is. For some of you, it might really tie into not only that you've been able to maintain your health results for a few years, but that now you've built a really nice, solid income stream for your family, and what that has done for you, you know, the choices and the opportunities that you have had because of that extra income. So whatever that is, keep it real, keep it authentic. That is such a big deal for me. We need to be honest, you guys, because there's already so much skepticism around network marketing that we have to be honest, like 100%. And people see through lies, you know? So, and if you want to say something about like your potential, you can say like, I know that I have the potential to make this amount in the next year, or my goal is, or I'm on my way to achieve this. That's okay, but just make sure that you always keep it real and honest. And then you're going to end that day basically saying how we're gearing up for our next 30-day challenge, and that we're so excited to help new friends reach their goals. And our next challenge is going to be back to school, back to you. No. Yeah, back to school, back to you, right? Is that what I said? I think so. Back to school, back to you. Yeah. And so, and I even have a hashtag. So make sure on Team Arrow Biz, you check that I put that post there yesterday. The hashtag was, I think, Team Arrow, back to school, back to you. The reason why the hashtag is important, you guys, is because on Facebook at the top on the search box, if you search hashtag back to school, back to you, or Team Arrow, back to school, back to you, then all the posts that have that hashtag will come up, which will be all of our Team Arrows posts. And it's an easy, quick way to support each other's posts so that we're all commenting and supporting on each other's posts. Because the more that we do that, It stays longer in the feed, and it also helps with the curiosity for other people because they'll be like, oh my gosh, there's like a lot of people commenting on this. And then just a friendly reminder, you guys, sometimes I think people get frustrated about like, oh, I did a post and like our team's not supporting me, or I barely got any comments. And I'm going to be really honest, you guys, the people that normally say that are people that are not really liking and commenting on other people's posts. So if you're upset that people aren't supporting your post or commenting or liking, just ask yourself, like, when was the last time that I did that for my team? And just keep that in mind. This is like such a reciprocal thing. I mean, to be honest, like when people like and comment on my things, I literally click on the person and go to their last post to comment on theirs. So that's just kind of my strategy, where I'll be like, oh, Patty commented, like, let me see, like, what did she do last? I want to make sure I supported her because she just supported me. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind. So if you're feeling that way, just ask yourself, like, am I doing that for other people? Because it does take time and it does take energy. And I would just say, like, just at night, spend a few minutes liking and commenting on other people's, especially if you want them to do the same for you. Christy, are you raising your hand? Is that what that is? The cute little like hand thing. Hi, Christy.
Hi.
I just see this little like hand. Like, I don't know what that is.
I was asking, do you want us to use the hashtag on all 3 parts of that post, or just the
No, well, actually,
because then that might be, I was thinking like, oh, the last one, but then if we're going to use it like how you said to find each other's posts, then it might be easier.
yeah, maybe we should do it for all 3. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. I mean, we could do that, or we could do like hashtag Team Arrow those first 2 days, but maybe we should keep it the same, huh?
I think if you do the back to school, back to you on the first 2 before you mention the challenge, it's like you haven't mentioned the challenge yet, so it might not make sense.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. But so what should we do?
It could also pique curiosity. Like, what does that mean?
Yep, I was just thinking that. It'll create curiosity for sure.
Because it's not going to stop them from reading. They're just going to be like, huh, what's that about? And then on Friday, it'll be like, here we go. Like, this is about a challenge, you know?
You have 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute. If we get cut off, just call back. I'll wrap it up, I promise. I need to work on timing. Okay, so let's just do that. For the 3, we'll do back to school, Team Arrow, back to school, back to you. Challenge, is that what I said? Just make sure it's whatever I said on Team Arrow Biz. It's written on there. Let me see.
Not challenge. Team Arrow, back to school, back to you.
Okay, that's it. Team Arrow, back to school, back to you. So put it on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and on Friday we'll announce it. And then Sunday, well, the weekend should be fun. I kind of think the weekend should just be fun, and we're really going to announce the challenge on Tuesday, September 4th, because it's a holiday weekend. People are still like in summer mode, but on Friday we've given them kind of like a heads up. And then Tuesday, September 4th, we'll do like a more like, all right, like it's game time. You know, we're starting this challenge. Who's going to join us? Da, 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 da. I'll create a flyer for our team, but like always, the more that it's personalized to you, and if it has your picture, it's even better.